Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here at Trumful Reads, and in this video we're going to be examining a really cool, awesome figure from classical antiquity, and it's Mithridates the Sixth, Eupator the Great, also just known as Mithridates. And this book is The Poison King: The Life and Legend of Mithridates, Rome's Deadliest Enemy by Adrian Mayor. And basically this is just a full, fleshed out, complete biography of Mithridates, including filling in sort of the gaps in the knowledge that we obviously don't have, that never came down to us. But let me just give you like a little detail from like the dust jacket. There's like two or three quotes I want to use because it's so good. Machiavelli praised his military genius. European royalty sought out his secret elixir against poison. His life inspired Mozart's first opera, while for centuries poets and playwrights recited bloody romantic tales of his victories, defeats, intrigues, concubines, and mysterious death. So, I mean, he literally had, like, a pretty, very interesting life, I guess one could say. But he really was a true enemy of Rome. Basically, he fought, I mean, literally decades in at least three, direct wars against Rome. I mean, he fought some of the better generals, too, that Rome produced, including Sulla, Lucullus, and Pompey the Great. But like I said, this book is literally like a whole biography of his entire life. There is a little bit of speculation. I don't really mind the speculation too much because you need some of it to, get things going and just make it like a decent book size length. And by the way, this book is like really awesome. Like the dust jacket looks cool. It's got like kind of the embossed dust jacket and everything. Plus, it's just like really heavy. It feels like high quality, and there's lots of figures and plates as well. So, yeah, like I said, it's pretty cool. Got really great index, sources, bibliography, all that stuff, too. But yeah, basically, Mithridates, like I said, fought against Rome pretty much most of his adult life. But yeah, he's got a couple of like really cool scenes. He's got a couple neat quirks about him. I mean, he was pretty ruthless, I'm not gonna lie. At one point, he orders basically a massacre of all, like, the pretty much Romans in his like little empire. And also he was the king of Pontus, for you guys who don't know, which was a kingdom which would be in northern Turkey, right around the Black Sea region. And he basically wanted to establish basically an Eastern empire that would be like sort of a counterweight to the Roman Empire in the West. But obviously this is largely during the 1st century BCE, so this is sort of the basically as Rome is climbing the ladder to become like the ultimate power in the pretty much known Western world. So he obviously fought a losing battle, as we know, but like I said, he gave it his best effort, and he wasn't like a super military genius per se. He obviously wasn't a dolt or anything, but I mean he wasn't like a Hannibal per se. But his charisma was so good. Like he, even after like really vicious defeats, he could always like rally his people and gain new allies, and find people to support him to basically keep on resisting Rome for years and years and years and years. Literally, like the whole war, when Lucullus is fighting him, Lucullus basically goes into retirement because the campaign is taking so long, and his troops are basically just getting irritated because it's just taking forever and ever and ever. And even when Pompey basically beats him, I don't know why I put Pompey in quotes. I meant to do beats him in quotes, but basically, eventually, Mithridates tires out his own people, and Pompey just sort of claims victory when the people sort of just like rebel against Mithridates. But like I said, he's got so many cool quirks. He literally is like, he's known as the Poison King for several reasons. Basically, he was like one of the most well-learned like herbologists and toxicologists, basically, or toxicologists, I should say, toxicologists, in the ancient world. Basically, he had a whole like kind of research lab thing going on with antidotes and poisons, and he would eat poisons like every day to establish immunity to them, things of that nature. And he basically kept antidotes everywhere. He also assassinated a lot of people indirectly through poisons that he and his team sort of concocted. So yeah, that is why he's known as the Poison King. And supposedly he had the Mithridatic elixir, which people like all the like the Classical Age and Middle Ages tried to like concoct, which was supposed to be like some sort of panacea antidote that could cure pretty much anything. There probably really wasn't one, to be honest, but Mithridates, like I said, he was just so well learned. He knew like over a dozen languages, which in his like little empire was kind of important because he literally was able to command different units from all over the place. Syrians and Iranians and all the Anatolian peoples, Greeks, so stuff like that. Whereas a commander that only knows one language, it's kind of difficult. But yeah, there were a couple. Well, actually, I'm not going to give away. There's two. He only, like I said, he's assassinates people in the behind the scenes quite a bit. But there are two scenes where he outright just sort of assassinates them or murders them in public. And one of them, Game of Thrones pretty much completely steals. Like when Viserys has like the golden crown poured, the molten crown poured on his head. That's pretty much taken from an episode of Mithridates' life. He doesn't pour it on the guy's head, but because the guy is so greedy, he literally boils up some gold and pours it down his throat, and obviously that kills him. And Soph is moving the camera. But like I said, he's got some really cool quirks. This book is awesome. It fills out pretty much everything. I mean, literally from before he's born and all the sort of his ancestry, like his sort of relationship or descendancy, I guess, from Alexander the Great, as well as his perceived relationship to Cyrus the Great of the Achaemenid Persians. So he basically wanted to have like this sort of Eastern Greco-Persian Eastern Empire thing going on. So he had a really cool. He was kind of vicious, or I wouldn't say vicious, but like ruthless. But basically, it was a huge drive just to resist Rome because he did not like Rome basically taking over pretty much everyone that they came into contact with. But like I said, this biography is awesome. I know this review kind of just went completely all over the place. I think there was another quote I wanted to read, but I can't. Yeah, I'm just going to read it right now so I don't forget. So, this is the author speaking. My goal is to render a three-dimensional holistic portrait of Mithridates in his world and to try and explain his complex legacy. An articulate and erudite Philhellene, admirer of Alexander the Great and proud heir of Cyrus and Darius of Persia, he was a courageous warrior, brilliant strategist, devious poisoner, daring gambler, scientific researcher, avid lover, unpredictable parent, connoisseur of art and theater, escape artist, sometime terrorist, and relentless nemesis of the Roman Empire. So yeah, he was a very complex figure. I think that's what makes him super interesting to relate. And he's somewhat little well known, even among like sort of classical scholars. So it's really cool seeing a huge book dedicated to Mithridates. But yeah, like I said, just really awesome. I encourage anyone who's interested in, like, say, the era of the Roman Republic, especially Rome's enemies. This would be a terrific book to pick up. And I'm going to give The Poison King by Adrienne Mayor 5 out of 5 stars because it's well written. It has really, the gaps that she fills in are well done, and she clearly, like, labels them so you know it's not, like, strict history per se. And it makes sense, so it's very believable. Also, her sources are really good. She uses tons of source material from all over the place in the ancient world, plus modern sources, geography, science with like the poisons and antidotes and things like that. All kinds of cool stuff going on. It's just a really well fleshed out book. Awesome read, and you guys should definitely go check it out if ancient history or Roman history or like I said, enemies of Rome is like your thing. There are lots of people who do like that, especially with like the Punic Wars, for example, in Carthage. So yeah, I encourage everyone to check out The Poison King if you like ancient history, and always remember, read victoriously.